Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over the cosine rule. And this is simply a very useful trigonometric rule that you can use for triangles that aren't right angled triangles, for questions where they ask you to either find the length of a side or to find an angle. So here I have a scalene triangle, and I've marked each angle with a capital A, B, and C. Then what I've done is I've marked the side that's opposite that angle with a lowercase a, b, and c, as you can see. And this is a cosine rule. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Now, this formula does seem quite long, and I'll admit at the start it is quite difficult to remember. So what I suggest is you either write it down and you have it on your desk or on your wall, or you just screenshot the slide, print it out, and you stick it up on your wall. And it'll be very easy for you to remember that formula if you see it daily. And essentially, how we can use this formula is if you have a question like this, for example, it gives us two sides and one angle, and it asks you to find a third side. So if I go on the previous slide here again, and I show you the formula we have here, it's a formula that includes three sides, A, B, and C, and one angle A. So this formula is useful when you have three sides and you're trying to look for an angle, or if you have an angle and two sides and you're looking for the third side. This is where you would want to use the cosine rule. So this is a simple question that you could get. The first thing you want to do is just mark on the letters. They've already given us A, B, and C on the corners, so I'm just going to label them accordingly. So I've got here lowercase a, b, and c, and that's our cosine formula there. Now, what I want to note here is the letters a, b, and c are arbitrary, and you can have c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c, or you can have b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos b. It doesn't matter as long as you're following two key rules. The first rule is the letter that you have on the left hand side of this equal sign, so say for example you have lowercase c, you want to use the angle that's opposite that side in the cosine. So as you can see here, I have c squared equals blah 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 blah, and it's cosine c. Same with the formula we've given here is a, and we have cosine a. The second thing that's really important to note is that the two sides that you have on the right hand side, so the b squared and the c squared, for example, you want to make sure that in the brackets after the minus 2 is those two sides. So if it's b squared plus c squared, then it will be minus 2bc. If it's a squared plus b squared, then it's minus 2ab. But the general rule is just the one that I have here in the blue bubble, and that just applies to anything. It doesn't matter what you label your side as long as you follow those two rules I just gave you. So I've just subbed in all of the values that we know here now. So I've subbed in A, B, and the angle C, which is 43 degrees. And that simplifies down to 18.4, but that's x squared. We want to find x, and we just square root it, and that gives us 4.30 to three significant figures. It's very important that you remember that it's c squared, not just c. A lot of people forget to square root it at the end, so make sure you do square root it at the end, and you sense check it, because if two of the sides are around 6 and 5 meters, it's very unlikely that AB is going to be 18.4 meters. Here's a different question which asks you to find the angle. Again, I've just marked on ABC, and they haven't given us any markings themselves, so I've just marked them on myself. And that's our cosine rule again. And I've just subbed all of it in like this. You rearrange it, and I've done it here step by step just because I find that easier so I don't make any mistakes. Remember to change the sign when you take numbers over to the other side, because a lot of the time a single sign error can mess up your whole calculation. And it gets difficult to try and look through all your working out to find it. So if you do a step by step like this, you're less likely to make a mistake. And all of that gives us cos A equals 17 over 273. And if you do inverse cos, you get 86.4 degrees as your angle x. What I would suggest is at the start of your paper, you just write down the cosine rule at the top of your paper. Do the same with your trig formulae and your sine rule, just so when you get a question like this, you don't have to think about what the formula is. You can just flick back and you can see at the top you have it written down. So just make sure you remember that formula. It's a very important formula. You almost definitely get a question on it. Here's a slightly harder one. This is a kind of question you could actually get on your non-calculator paper because it has the angle 60 degrees and that's one of the exact trig values. If you haven't watched my video on exact trig values, I'll link it to this video so you can go and watch that. So I've just here marked the A, B, and C, the angles on the sides. I suggest doing this every time, it's just so much easier. Then you're just subbing in numbers into letters. That's our cosine formula again. And here I have subbed all of that in. So I've got a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos 60. And because we have values that have x in them, we have x plus 2 and 2x minus 3, we know that we're going to end up with a quadratic. So here you can see I've simplified it out. What I would suggest is doing it step by step like I have here. So I've expanded the 2x minus 3 squared, then I've expanded the x plus 2 squared, and I've expanded the 2x minus 3 times x plus 2. And then cos 60 equals a half, so that just cancels out with the 2 that you're multiplying it with. This is why I said that this is a question you go in your non-calculator paper because cos 60 is the exact trig value that you have to know, and it equals a half. And if you further simplify it down, you should get the quadratic 3x squared minus 9x minus 54 equals 0. If it's a calculator paper, you can just put this into your calculator and you will get your values for x. But just for the sake of this question, in case it comes up on a non-calculator paper, you can factorize it like this. I'll make a whole detailed video on factorizing quadratics later on, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that. And you get two values of x, 6 and minus 3, but you can't have a negative length. So if you sub in minus 3 into the length c, you end up getting minus 1, and you can't have a length that's negative, so x must equal 6. So that's your answer. Thanks for watching. I hope this video really helps you guys, and good luck for your GCSEs. If you have any specific topics you want me to go over, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments.